Hi, Bo. I have a program going on now, and I want to get you linked into there, and that's what I'm going to try to do. I forgot it came the same thing with this. If Reti just let me see. Oh, I know what's wrong. Okay, 1 second. I have to get another router, and I'm going to try to put it on my phone and let you see what's happening. We're having a program with Havi today, okay? So just wait a few minutes. We should get in, okay? Be right back. That's always kind of, but if you want time, and at least when I'm here, we want to do these regularly. Vikram, technical thing, if anyone needs to use the bathroom, room number 3. There's hot tea in the back if people want. So the program is periodic, it's like my godmother, friend. Havi Das. And I asked him to, he did speak a little, mostly kirtan, but I like him to speak a little bit too. I think he has a really fascinating story about how he came to Krishna consciousness. So I'd like to explain that and do kirtan. And the program is we will continue with the kirtan and the program till 8 o'clock, and then we have like a very nice prasada prepared. So we'll share that. So Havi, Prabhu, please come up.
Hare Krishna. Maharaj, thank you for inviting me.
Thank you for coming.
Prabhuji, thank you for your company. And all of you, welcome to Govardhan. I was asked by Maharaj to speak a little bit of how I came to Krishna consciousness. And I'm ready to do that. To please the Vaishnavas is the beginning and the end for a person who wants to please the Supreme Lord. Right? Devotees are the life and soul of the devotees. Devotees are the life and soul of the devotees. So, I'm coming from a Jewish family. I was born in Israel. And at the age of 18, 19, I figured out that life cannot be just what I've learned at home or in school. Dysfunctional as every Jewish family more or less is. It was a good opportunity to ask questions. But that immediately qualified me as somebody who is straight. Why would you question life and death? Father, what is death? Don't worry about it. You know, you have so many years, you know. I still remember when I was in the 80s, 70s, and we were thinking about the year 2000. Wow. Year 2000. Like the Jetsons, remember? I don't know if they know that about Jetsons, but it was a cartoon of the future. People living in how do you call it? Spaceships. And we're not yet there, but we thought that by the end, by the year 2000, that's what's going to happen. No, it didn't happen. So as soon as you question life, there's something wrong with you. And I thought there was something wrong with me. Until I have one of the greatest experiences in my life. At the age of 19, I went to Israel, back to Israel. I don't know why. It's like, it was a call. Just go there. Okay. So I obeyed the call and I went. And there it was my grandmother, my two sisters lived there, and sort of home. I had a friend from childhood, his name was Solomon. And Solomon was in the university learning Hebrew and preparing to get into the university. And he always asked me to come and spend some time with him, because it was a new life for him and also for me. So together is better, right? So one of those visits, we were together there. I was going to spend the night there. Somebody knocked the door. And I went to the door and I opened the door, and there was this young man, very thin, long hair, and he identified himself as a person who just arrived from India and he's going to Argentina, which is the place where he lives. And he said, I was guided to your door here, because I heard that there were some Latin people here, Spanish-speaking people. Do you mind if I spend the night here? Tomorrow I'm going to Argentina. So I turned, it was not my house, so I turned. And he said, yes, please come in. And we welcome him. And here he sat down, very particular, this young man, very quiet. And oh, you do music? Yes. So I started to play a little guitar. I don't play good guitar, so just a little. And he took matchballs. And we started to just sing things until he took the guitar. And when he took the guitar, what he was playing was something astonishing. It was like going to the Middle Ages. You know, those troubadours, those people, Celtic type of rasa. And he became very interested. And but at the same time, I was very skeptical, because when you find somebody who is not part of the tribe, it doesn't behave like a member of the tribe, then you're skeptical. Well, what is he doing? What's his intention? And he happened to be a very interesting guy. He started to speak poetry. He started to play the guitar. And one of the songs was Adriana in the Sky with Diamonds. There was Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds from the Beatles, but he changed to Adriana, and then it had nothing to do with the original melody. He was very talented, and I was blown out by what. To make a story shorter, we ended up at the roof of the building, and we started to talk about truth, reality. And the more he was speaking, the more I was intrigued. But he was using metaphors and similes, but he was not direct to the point. And at one point, I lost patience, which is my usual habit. My father used to tell me that when I pray to God, I pray him, my dear Lord, give me patience, but give it to me now. So I asked him, what is truth? What is reality? And he opened his eyes. This is already 3 o'clock in the morning. And he says, I know that my hands are made of water, but one day the seed of reality and truth will be sown in my heart. And while pouring water to that seed, a beautiful plant and a beautiful bush, a beautiful tree will grow, and the fruit is going to be love of God. Okay. Let's go to sleep. I mean, is this the answer for what I asked? Well, okay, I just left it at that. I didn't want to exploit him either, right? I thought, this is what he gives me. And I was here and there, just very motivated and very inspired by his words. But not clear. And somehow or other, he was in his sleeping bag and I was in bed. Solomon was in the other bed. Before we fell asleep, I sat down and I said, do you practice yoga? Indian yoga. So he just sat down also, came out of his sleeping bag and said, yes, bhakti yoga. Don't ask me anything else.
Wow.
Okay. I'm not going to ask you. Next day in the morning, he wasn't there. Why? He left to Argentina. Right? I decided to go to the house of my grandmother. And I was waiting for the bus for a long time. I couldn't get the bus. Where is the bus? And I remember, it is Saturday. Saturday in Israel, there are no buses. You can use cars. Oh, okay. I forgot. So I went to the main road, towards the main road. And while going to the main road to get a taxi, which is functional, I saw a kiosk. And something caught my attention, and I saw a magazine. It says in Hebrew, the Hare Krishnas in Israel. And I thought, what is this? And I took the magazine and I can speak, but I cannot read as I can speak. So, and then I see the pictures. I said, my God, these people are strange. And then Krishna is God. I said, oh my God, another God, another sect, and another, oh no, I don't want this. But keep reading, okay? Keep reading. Self-realization, we're not this body, the bhakti yoga. Bhakti yoga. Bhakti yoga. Isn't this what this guy was talking to me? And he said, yes, I practice bhakti yoga. Don't question anything else. My intrigue was so strong that I took, instead of the taxi to my grandmother's house, I went to the address of this guy. It was like 45 minutes, 50 minutes. I arrived to the place. It's curious, by the way, that when the taxi arrived, he arrived like 100 meters from the door of the house. And I ran as if I was going to see my mother after 50 years or something. I ran, and there was a part of me saying, hey, why are you running? Yeah. I don't know. And my heart was beating and I was excited. Hey, what's going on with you? I knocked the door. This gentleman, very young, opens the door and says, Hare Krishna. And I go, yes, hello. Please come in. And as soon as I get in, there were no furniture at that moment. They just recently arrived, but they had pictures and paintings on the wall. And I started to ask. Of course, we went through the protocol, who are you and where you're coming from and so on, but just to go to the main theme. Who is that? I said, oh, this is Krishna. And who is Krishna? Krishna is God. Are you serious? I mean, everybody's looking for him everywhere. On the moon, on the earth, and religions, and systems, and science, and you have it hanging in your wall. And of course, I went like, this is, but I was, open-minded. And then he invited me to see the altar. That was unacceptable. Altar? That means images, something. And that is a no-no in the Jewish tradition, right? And also the Christian tradition. Right? Still, I was open-minded. I'm going to learn something here. And he started to speak. And he went, Dehinosmi jata dehi kumara tatra dehantara prapti vilapatunayate. Just as this soul passes through childhood and youth and then old age, that same soul goes to another body at the time of death. And inside I thought, yes, this makes sense. Because the other choice is nobody knows, or there's nothing, there's no reason. Everything is relative. It's your opinion, it's me. We have free thinkers, we have more Democrats. But this makes sense. And then I said, give me more. There was a time that I did not exist. All these kings. The soul is eternal. Matrasparsasta kanteya sukhadukada sitosmus. The happiness and distress that we feel is compared to the seasons of winter and summer. They come and go. It's just product of our perception that we have. It's not based on reality. There we go. Wow, give me more, give me more. And the more I asked, the more he was giving. But I was torturing him. How do you know that this is like that? And how do I know it? You know, because you don't want to be brainwashed. And today I was speaking about the word brainwash. I was with Prabhupada in 1976 in Mayapur. He was asking, so what do they say? And the President Temple of New York said, they say we're brainwashing Prabhupada. And Prabhupada took some time and he said, we're not brainwashing, we're brain giving. Of course, in order to wash, you first have to have, right? Otherwise, right? So that humor was there, you know. Back to the story. I was very impressed, and I took one book and I ate some prasadam, some fruits that they the smell of strawberry incense. Mm-hmm. From those times, it was a strawberry incense, and we all loved it, right? When we were young. Spiritual Sky Company. And I devoured the book immediately. It's called Elevation to Krishna Consciousness. That was my first book. And I couldn't avoid it. He said, please come in 2 days. In 2 days, we have a little celebration here. And I said, okay. So I came, and I came like an hour and a half, 2 hours before, and he said, do you want to hear my spiritual master's voice? I said, yes. He already told me he left India at the age of 69, and then he arrived without penniless, and then he did his books, and I was fascinated by the concept. Can I hear his voice? Why? Because he's the first one who recorded the original tapes before Krishna-katha. Krishna-katha was another devotee who took from the 70s on, but this first recordings were made by him, by Ganesh. And by the way, his wife was the first one to do a cookbook. It's a rectangular black and white book with recipes. So I put my headphones, his headphones, I need to say, and he has a 7.5-inch tape recorder, and he was playing, and I hear Vandeham Sri Guru. There was not a single hair in my body that didn't stand up. And I said, what is this? So crude, so profound. And meanwhile, I was listening and I couldn't blink my eyes. I saw that his wife was going to the altar and offering at least 35, 40 preparations. And they were there offering. And I was, wow, this is amazing. And then I asked, why is there, today is the birth, we celebrate the birth of a great personality, Lord Chaitanya. Okay, so guess how many guests they had that day? That's my first encounter with Havi. So that was the final. Yes, and this is the way I met Krishna consciousness. And what to do now? You know? What to do now? Who am I going to say? I mean, God is a person. Not only that, but he uses a peacock feather and he plays flute. And what? Are you serious? But it's beautiful. But is it real? Wait. Okay. You know those, the rejection and acceptance of the thoughts going here and there. I was in love. It was visceral. It was something that was beyond rational. So, yes, eventually I had the opportunity to, I had to go out of the country. My father took me out because there was a war. And, but I had the books. I had the first books of Prabhupada printed in India, and he brought some of them, the yellow Bhagavatams, and also the first canto was divided into small, short versions, and the Bhagavad Gita, the blue one from Macmillan. And I arrived in Venezuela and I started to speak to my friends. And we ended up in parks chanting Hare Krishna and reading Bhagavad Gita. And to make short this long and beautiful story, Prabhupada arrived in 1975. Well, I was initiated in 1973 in Los Angeles with the name Havi. And 1975, he came to Venezuela. And everybody there decided that I was going to wash his feet. Are you serious? You want to? Okay. But it was a decision that was a very fast decision. Nobody really trained me how to do this. When you see how it moves now today, you just when you pour the elements, then you put some water, and then you try, and that's it. Nobody told me anything. I just saw the yogurt, and I saw the honey, and I saw the ghee, and I saw the water, and Prabhupada was right in front of me, and then he extended his leg, and I took his socks off. And I said, okay, let me go from thick to thin. Thick, yes, because honey is the thickest, right? So honey, just honey. Yogurt? Okay, put yogurt, and I started to massage his feet, and I went under, and I went for a second, like, what? Meanwhile, some of his associates were kicking me. What are you doing? I said, why? You know, I had the concept that, you know, this is the sage who has walked for miles and miles to come to my house, and I have the chance to massage his feet to relieve him from, you know, he's an elderly man, and I went in. So this is what happened. And meanwhile, Sri Guru Charana. And all those ingredients, of course, I ended up, oh, by the way, I was so foolish because the second best book distributor, Tamoha, I decided to share 1/5. So I told him. And Prabhupada said, no, you. And of course, what happened is that everything fell into this recipient, right? It was full of honey and milk and all the goodness, ghee, and it was so beautiful. And I said, I cannot, and I started to and everybody was it was completely in ecstasy. Everybody was dancing and crying. It was a beautiful event. But at one point I said, they are wet. Take it out. Okay, so I did it. So I took the recipient to the kitchen, right? And I put it there and I went out. But I stopped immediately and I said, are you going to leave that there? So what do you think I did? What do you think I did with it? I drank it. No? What would you do? I mean, it was there. Everybody was bathed. Mercies everywhere. Somebody's going to me. And I can say that if something is going to happen in my life, positive, in spiritual life, it's not because I'm strong, because I'm smart, or because I'm sincere. It's because the goodness, the beauty of a meeting with a pure devotee representing the oldest and smartest and most beautiful culture of the universe. And I'm washing his feet, and I'm the one who's distributing his books. And just because of that, I hope that I can avoid taking lower forms of life in the future. I also hope that one of my kids will make it as pure devotees. There's a story of Dhruva Maharaj where his mother told him where Krishna was. And because she guided him where Krishna can be found, then at the time when they came to pick him up to go to the spiritual world, he said, where's my mother? Oh, she's okay, she's in the other airplane. She's going to, so I'm telling my kids, come on, become pure devotees. Take me. This is the beauty of Krishna consciousness, that we can be in contact with sound, with beauty. And if you have any comment, or if you want to ask some question, I'm here for you. But so far as the story goes, I don't want to monopolize time and my presence here. So I am done with the story. Is there anything would you like to know or ask anything or make a comment? Yes.
I immediately remember that I joined Krishna consciousness because somebody helped me very much to join Krishna consciousness. And this person was a Christian. She was vegetarian and she had a lot of respect for the Hare Krishna. But she never joined. She never became serious about Krishna consciousness. But somehow she really gave me the gift of Krishna consciousness. She gave me Bhagavad Gita. She took me to the temple. She taught me how to take a bath every day. She taught me about how to stop drinking wine, because in France, everybody drinks wine.
Yes.
And she told me everything, to be clean, to everything. And I became a devotee. Because of her, really, she saved me. But 10 years later, she tried she came to the temple, and she was trying to say, okay, you spent 10 years with Hare Krishna, now you can come back with me again. and I was really not willing to stop being a devotee. I told her, but you may come if you like. But I never saw her again. And I would like to have some news about her, what happened.
If I know something about her, I will let you know.
So, because you mentioned like that somebody who shows the path,
yes, Krishna works we hear God works in mysterious ways, operates in unconventional ways. So just see, he's blackish, and he wears a peacock feather, and he plays the flute, and he's not conventional. He never stops surprising, and he starts from the beginning. From the beginning, he starts surprising how he manifests himself, how he makes you come to him. It's unconventional. There are no rules as such.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
How old were you when you became a devotee?
Almost 20.
And you are also a famous singing person, right? So yeah. How did you become, were you a devotee and then this path started, or you were already doing this?
I was a musician already, but I didn't like the environment I was in, and I decided to become a devotee. I was in love with Krishna consciousness. Some social issues within the movement, since we were too young, I couldn't deal with it properly, and made me, and of course I was the age I was going to become a grihasta, so I had to maintain myself, so on. And I had at least 30 songs in my mind. And I did a demo, and the demo became a record, the record became a hit, and the hit, and the second, and the third, and the fourth. And then suddenly I see myself being a performer and a composer. And I'm happy that it happened. At the beginning, I didn't understand how it works. But really, what happens is that now, for example, I have contact with thousands of people who are listening to Krishna consciousness, are listening to the transcendental vibration. Why? Because I have won their confidence. You see, when you become a preacher, you have to first make sure that you got their confidence, because they don't know who you are and what's your intention. But in my case, everybody knew me in Venezuela and other countries. So it was easy to say Krishna is God and the rest is spiritual life. And so I did two titles that you can find in YouTube. One is called Desde mi terraza, which means from my terrace or from my balcony. And there are, I think, 6 or 7 videos where in 20 minutes each, approximately, I speak on the base of Krishna consciousness. And then there's another set of 6 or 7 of those called Tales from the Sages, or Stories from the Sages. And at that point, I am speaking Bhagavatam, and I speak Chitraketu and Puranjana and Narada Muni. And yes, and I see now Krishna's plan once again, how he operates. Yes, once you have a single sincere contact and a sincere service, that you really do a sincere service, then Krishna says, he is mine. He is mine. And then sometimes when you feel lonely or you think that you're by yourself, you're not. It's part of the plan. But you do have to do some service to win his heart, because he is so sensitive that when you do something for him, he says, oh, who wants to come home? It doesn't have to be a big thing, just a small thing. Chanting Hare Krishna, doing some real effort to please him. And just by doing that, everything else will come. Everything else will come just because he takes that moment very sincerely. So I feel that this is what happened in my life, and I'm still around. I'm here in Govardhan speaking to you. I could be anywhere else. I prefer to be here.
Do we have some more kirtan?
Yes. Yes.
Would you please sing one of your songs?
What am I what song?
I don't know. You told us that you sing some songs about the Lord, but what do you mean all the way to this Krishna?
I am not having the right. Is this in tune? Is this in tune? Yeah. Okay, so this song, it says, ¿Dónde estás que no te veo? Where are you that I cannot see you? Pareces estar escondida. Looks like you're hidden. Para no verme más, because you don't want to see me. Si lo nuestro quedó en el olvido, if what we have is finished, is gone, dímelo. Dímelo means, let me know, right? This is a cry from a soul will cry in Spanish to God in a particular way, right? So the basic is like this. ¿Dónde estás que no te veo? Pareces estar escondida para no verme. Si lo nuestro quedó en el olvido, dímelo. You're not responding. Pareces haber encontrado una forma nueva de amor. Maybe you find somebody else, another form of love. Si lo nuestro es un juego de niños. This is a child game. Dímelo. Let me know. Dímelo. Si no encuentras el hilo que tanta de, you don't find in me what you were expecting. Si te faltan las ganas de you don't have the desire to see me again. Oh, si lo nuestro es un caso perdido. If what's going on between ourselves is a lost case, caso perdido. Dímelo. Just let me know. So of course, everybody sings dímelo, but they don't know where is it coming from. It's a song that it's composed based on the love and the connection that a soul has, or doesn't have, but wants to have with the Supreme Lord. Hare Krishna.